It's time to make your bets for the 2026 NASCAR All-Star Race at Dover Motor Speedway. We fire up the engines right here, next on the Backroad.
I don't drive a Monte Carlo, and my truck ain't painted black. It ain't got a big white number 3 turning left around the track.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Backroad In Between Media's NASCAR betting show. Elliot Hick Seth Woolcock here as the points racing takes a little pause this week, at least on the Cup side, as good old Miles the Monster hosts the NASCAR All-Star Race this year. Someone's going to take home $1 million come Sunday afternoon.
What a weekend it's going to be, Elliot, with all 3 series back ripping. It's a beautiful one, right? And Dover is a track that I think we should all enjoy it while we can, right? Because you never know what's going to come around the corner. So fired up to get back to a historic venue and hopefully get back in the green, because I'm hurting a bit. the wallet is hurting a bit after Watkins Glen. It bent me over last week, buddy.
Hey, speak for yourself, man. It went pretty well for me. Definitely could have gone a little better, but we had some good ones that we hit. We will talk about everything in the Watkins Glen weekend in the rear view and our Horizon forecast. We'll break down all there is to know about Dover, including explaining the All-Star Race format, because Lord knows they change that up every year, and this year it will be different once again. And then in our parking garage props, we will give you our best bets for the All-Star Race weekend, but also points races for the O'Reilly Series that always puts on a good show there, and the Truck Series. For the first time in more than 2,000 days, we'll have a points race at Dover, and that certainly will be exciting as well.
Yeah, man. Dover is one of those places. It's great racing, right? Like, it really, really is. Say what you want about the venue, the location. Okay, we can talk about that. I don't love it being behind a strip mall, right? We could do a little better than that. But at the same time, like, we were up there in the press box on, I think that's what, turn 1 and 2 you're going into. And it's just electric there to see the battles there, really, that all the series can put on here. And to kind of take the Cup Series stakes down a little bit for a weekend will be fun. But at the same time, I do feel a little bittersweet having this not be a points race. It feels a little weird.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is a place that held 2 points races every year forever, and now just relegated to the All-Star Race. But a little bit of extra excitement for Dover will be fun. And hey, location aside, any unique oval is a good place for NASCAR to go. We don't need to get on our soapbox about how 2 guys from the Northeast want to keep more tracks in the Northeast. We can talk about that another time. But hey, if you love racing, and if you love, well, thanks to Marcus, we know he loves racing and loves him some Christopher Bell, who we'll have a lot to talk about later tonight. Shout out to John as well for joining us. Thanks for tuning in on a Wednesday night, everyone who's live. This time of year, lots of things going on. We got graduations going on. We got work responsibilities. So a couple Wednesdays the next couple of weeks, we will see shows. But grateful for you tuning in, whether you're live, whether you are watching us back later, whether you are listening to the audio edition on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review. Whether you like us, don't like us, we want to know over there. And what I was saying was, if you like racing and if you like In Between Media, 2 really cool things, a way to get locked in on that is through our sub-channel, the Backroad. _Backroad is the username over there. You can subscribe. The link is in the bio. This video will be collabed with it, and that gives you all of our racing bonus episodes, which I'm really excited to ramp up here in the coming weeks. F1 going to have its most prestigious race. IndyCar going to have its most prestigious race. Not on the same day anymore, unfortunately. Thanks to F1 for that. But either way, lots of
F1 ruining everything good, as always.
But lots of good fun racing stuff coming up around the bend, as well as when we want to expand on other racing topics that we don't get the time to do in this show. That's the place to do it. We got shorts ripping over there as well, whether it's unique content or little bits and pieces of the Backroad that we thought were worth throwing up there. Either way, that is the home for all of the racing content, and we really appreciate everyone not only liking and subscribing on this video right here, but also liking and subscribing our content over there to keep everything racing focused, it's the place to be.
It absolutely is. And looks like we got a couple folks going to Dover. So a little Dover meetup. Of course, the one year we're not going to Dover, Elliot. Skull here saying, I go to Dover every year, headed there this weekend. Not crazy about not being a points race. I hope the fans show up so we can get a points race next year and so on. Hunter saying, I'm going to the races as well this weekend. I have the same opinion. Not thrilled about All-Star and the wacky format. But John saying better than North Wilkesboro there, I think is what he's saying there. So, Cole, Hunter, would love to see you guys connect with each other in person. Great way to communicate is over there in the IBT Racing family, which we'll tell you about later. But great. I know Bob goes every year too. So quite the Dover crowd we're learning here. And honestly, I'll say we had a time and a half out there in Dover, Elliot. We had great bets all weekend long, and then just like cherry on top, we're staying out at the beach. What was that, Dewey Beach?
Completely dead because it was at the end of April.
Brilliant.
Had all the beach vibes with nobody there, and unfortunately couldn't take.
It was a little pizza shop. We had a little pizza shop to ourselves, pretty much, just sitting at a bar, just us and like 5 TVs in the NFL draft ripping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and we certainly hope to make it back to Dover as long as it stays on the schedule. But again, not a soapbox we need to get on. We're excited to talk Dover tonight, but before we get to Dover, we have to take a look back in the rear view at Watkins Glen.
Rather not, but here we go.
Baby, that's how you do it. Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. You are the man. No way! We did it! Yeah!
So we had all 3 series ripping at Watkins Glen and ARCA 2. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but we have to start with the Cup Series race and Shane Van Gisbergen once again opening up the can of whoop ass on the field. It really has reached astounding levels at this point, not even just being the best car, best driver, but on pit strategy, having to come from 20 plus seconds behind on the last run to win the race. He does that. Michael McDowell, who ran second, did that as well. Great run for him. That'll be overshadowed, though, by SVG, just absolutely kicking everyone's ass. I don't know how everything looked on TV. This was one of those opportunities where I had the chance to listen to the whole race on the radio, and every once in a while that can be really enjoyable. But Seth, how did everything look on the broadcast, and what was your thoughts on the racing before we get to our betting cards being differential?
There's usually one time a year where I'm making my way back from the in-laws around Christmas or Thanksgiving, and I usually get a whole Steelers game 1:00 on an afternoon on the radio, and like also not a bad thing. Don't mind it at all. So it was fine, Elliot. Like honestly, it was a good product, I thought, of what we saw. Like tires were definitely more of an impact than we've seen in recent years here. At times it did feel like we were playing specifically in early of the runs, like a little bit follow the leader, right? Like it definitely felt like that. I don't think really anyone had anything for SVG pretty much all day. McNasty had some great speed, as you mentioned. I think that's like kind of like the subplot here, right? Like great run for Michael McDowell and while we think of him as a road course guy, Glen is not his best track, right? Among all the road courses, one of his worst actually. Ty Gibbs continues to be super strong. That was great to see as well. And then you just have these, normal road course guys who are continuing to figure out the Briscoes, the Reddick, the Dingers. And then like, would you say maybe even the subplot of the day is RCR all of a sudden, and that was something you capitalized on?
Yeah, they were able to play the strategy really well, end up both finishing in the top 10 there. Kyle Busch, I think, would have had a top 5, but runs out of gas there at the end. But yeah, the differing fuel strategies, you have to feel for Connor Zilic. He was obviously not going to win with how it played out, but was probably going to run top 5, cooks the tires a little bit, ends up with a flat, comes back to 20th, but still not the day that he deserved either. And with McDowell, he was one of the guys I put in throughout the weekend. I'm kind of looking for some more McDowell exposure as well as Austin Cindric, and I didn't end up betting anything. But thankfully, we'll lead with the good news first, and that's my betting card, because I had a great weekend, second most profit of the year, and my longest odds bet that I've ever hit. That was not the SVG outright. I got that at plus 140. That was an obvious one. Ty Gibbs top 5 felt like a slam dunk too. Was able to get that at plus 320. Allmendinger, great weekend for me. Had the top 10 and even money and a matchup over Chastain at plus 110. Wish I would have had it in the matchups contest. We'll talk about that later too. I did have a RCR bet. It was Kyle Busch or Austin Dillon to finish top 10. BetMGM had a couple RCR related parlays there. That one was a plus 120. And I remember seeing in that selection some absolutely ridiculous odds number of them both finishing top 10. And I was like, there's no way that's going to happen. That would
they probably got cooked on that. Holy cow.
I'm sure most people looked at it and were like, yeah, why would I bet that? They're not both going to finish top 10. Probably neither of them are, but they're able to both get it done. But every week, I mean, if you look at my full betting cards, you have the logical bets, you have some other placement props that you're like, okay, I see where this guy's coming from. But especially being volume better, lower unit share than a lot, but more bets on the card than most too. I will generally throw in a couple of just kind of wild bets or go for the long odds. I know the one that I always regret was some ridiculous, 30 to 1, 40 to 1 dual forecast where if Briscoe hadn't passed Berry at the last second at New Hampshire, I would have had a crazy odds dual forecast for Alan Berry. I finally was able to hit one of those. I had a combo parlay bet, one of those other like pre-selected ones. I think it was on BetMGM for Ty Gibbs to be the top Toyota and Austin Cindric to be the top Ford. I wanted to have some faith in Cindric and Penske running well on the road courses again. It was a good weekend for Cindric. He finishes 9th, but he's the top Ford, and Ty Gibbs is able to hold on to be the top Toyota. So I was able to cash a 60 to 1 to make the weekend even better than it already was. So finally, one of those crazy bets hits for me. And I mean, I've been talking about bets I've hit now for 90 seconds, 2 minutes now. So great weekend on the card. And that's not even the biggest bet that I won. So, but unfortunately, what goes up must come down. So let's go over to your card, Seth.
Absolutely cooked. Worst week of the season. And Elliot, I was just telling the fiance before I came down here that, last week I uttered the words, this might be my favorite betting card, not only of the season, but the last few years. And it just didn't play out. Like I will say, like, I was right to be skeptical of SVG in the lower series last week and kind of fading Zilich on Friday a little bit too. Like that was kind of my play. But SVG top Chevy that came home at 2.5 units. That was great. I did end up getting down. I put in the Discord on Sunday morning. Michael McDowell -117 boosted at BetRivers against Ross. 2 units that felt like easy money, taking candy from a baby. But I just got cooked on some really like some of it was bad luck and some of it was just like late run speed and strategy not working out. Friday night I had Gio like FML on that one because like I had just for a top 10, Elliot, and he was front row late on a restart and just ended up going too soon, which hey, that's something that, you betting young driver, you gotta take that, when it comes. But I've definitely gotten cooked on Gio a couple times now, but the odds were so good. Like for him to be a top 10 bet at even money was great. Corey Day got passed by Carson Kvapil on Saturday, like last lap. He was running above him all day. So that kind of just didn't go in my favor. And then the big disappointment, which I know not only for me, but I think for a lot of people out there in the IBT family as well, got cooked on the Chris Buescher, right? Like this was a guy who he didn't have the most speed right off the rip, started 14th, but then ended up getting himself like towards the top 10 by the end of, the first couple runs. And then strategy played the same one as SVG. So you thought he was going to be fine and just didn't have the late run speed. And it ended up getting past there. I think he was in 7th with maybe 5 to go, and it ends up, I think, in 11th, and just heartbreaker. Five units on it. That's what happens when you go all in on a bet like that. So, definitely licking my wounds a little bit, but it was a fun ride. It was a fun ride until the bus stopped, and it stopped not at my destination of choice.
Yeah, man, definitely a tough weekend for some guys. You mentioned Buescher, kind of expecting him to have a little more speed. That was one of my bets I didn't hit. We'll talk about the trucks here in a minute and everything that happened with Gio. And then Hendrick Motorsports. I mean, I had a Byron bet, but I wasn't thinking Hendrick was going to be super great. I didn't think they were going to be as bad as they were. 23rd, 24th, 25th, and then 37th. Yeah. None of those four seemed like they had any speed all day. And this is kind of a point I'm going to make about this weekend too. There are some times where teams are going to know, okay, maybe we're a little out to lunch this weekend. Maybe we're not going to bring our best piece. This is just kind of what we're going to have to do. And it was one of those days for HMS.
Yeah, there are question marks, right? Like they definitely haven't raced as good as we had thought at this point. Like William Byron doesn't have a win. The Kyle Larson hot take that you had that was off the charts.
So close, man. I'm a month away.
Yeah. Like imagine if that was a future you could have got invested with too. Like that would have been.
I might have been able to get better than the 60 to 1 that I hit this weekend on that.
Even just his what was his season win total? 4.5. Like we should have. I remember the under was juiced heavily. But like still at this point, whatever the under, I think it was 4.5 or 3.5. Like that would have been a really nice bet. Like the only one who's showing any speed really week in and week out is Chase Elliott. your boy Bowman's had a couple of nice runs since he's been back. That's been great to see. But like, if we're drafting like at least for like the next month, like, are we drafting Kyle Larson last? Like, I know it's tracks that are generally favorable, like Dover for him. But like Bowman's been better than him lately, and we're actually going to like maybe Bowman's best track on the circuit.
Yeah, we'll chat more about some of the Hendrick guys a little later. You talked about the lower series as well. Great late battle on Saturday between Love and Zilich. Connor goes to 3-0 though at Watkins Glen in the O'Reilly series, passing him in the last corner. He didn't fall this year. Justin Marks threw the pillow or whatever in victory lane. Didn't fall. But my take from the O'Reilly race, of course, is that Austin Green continues to be an absolute money printer on road courses when his car doesn't let him down. Yeah. Top 10 around the strategy at minus money. Made the weekend before I even hit all the Cup stuff. And in the truck race, I'm sure, I don't know if you had a good weekend or anyone else had a good weekend out there. I certainly hope you did. I'm sure you didn't have a better weekend than Caden Honeycutt. Won the ARCA race, won the truck race, and then was able to go win both the Cars Tour races on Saturday. After partying up at the Glen on Friday, goes and wins in the Cars Tour. So 4 wins this weekend. Amazing weekend for him. Finally gets his first career Truck Series win. But yeah, late race controversy in terms of the restart zone. Some of the drivers said it might have been a little hard to see. Ross Chastain just sent it way too early. He gets a penalty. And then they call Gio Ruggiero for a restart violation when he's getting pushed through the restart zone. And by the time, before they even got to the restart, NASCAR apparently rescinded the penalty, but they couldn't give Gio.
Oh, for real? I didn't even hear this part. No way.
I heard that from Freddie Kraft on Door Bumper Clear, who is Gio's spotter in the truck series, is that so it comes to like 1 to go. So they decide we're going to come down pit road and put tires on it to try and gain a few more spots, gain a few more points if we're going to have to come from the back. So they do that. They're at the back. Before they get to the restart, NASCAR says, hey, sorry, we're going to rescind this penalty, but we can't give you your spot back because you came down pit road and put tires on it. So that was a gaffe, to say the least. Definitely not what Gio deserved.
Are they going to pay me back? Are they going to pay me back my 2 units I sunk on that one? My goodness. Come on.
It's one of those things where they'll tell you sorry, but they're not going to, they're not going to admit they screwed up. They're not going to.
He got back to 14th too. Like he had it. I was looking, I was, we might have a shot to come back and cash this, but yeah.
Yeah, but that was super unfortunate. Yeah, Zilich, ends up running second, but was not necessarily super dominant all day. Brent Cruz had a pretty good day. Couldn't get to victory lane. SVG in the 4 truck. That Nice equipment, man, I just don't know if it's not even good enough for SVG to drive to the front in the truck series, but different vehicles, all that stuff. The only truck bet I was able to hit because the Gio matchup didn't work out for me. The Connor Mosack top 10 at plus 123. That one barely hit. I was able to hit that one on the last lap because 2 guys crashed in front of him. So that one I thought was a sure thing, and it really wasn't there.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of the truck series bet you and I hit together with Dawson Sutton a couple of months ago, or a couple of years ago at this point. But that was tough. It's so funny because you and I literally had a conversation last week. Hey, the first win is coming for Caden Honeycutt. I just don't think it's at Watkins Glen. I literally remember saying almost those exact words. Mm-hmm. So the fact that we said that, it's just a little bit, jarring to me. Like, wow, we should have just sprinkled on Caden Honeycutt. It just shows the growth this guy's having right now, right, Elliot? I mean, not only was he able to beat some all-time ringers, they're not all in the best equipment. Zilich is in pretty good equipment, but you have SVG.
Zilich, SVG, Brent Cruz, AJ Allmendinger had the best run for Ram I think they've ever had, their first top five.
Yeah, Ram's starting to pick it up a little bit too, like some good runs there from Queen and Mini Tyrell's pretty good around these road courses, man. I didn't really watch the show. I don't know if you did, so I don't know if that's something they had them ripping quite a bit, but good races for them for sure. And last thing I really have on the weekend, like shout to Slim Jim Parker Retzlaff. This guy's like an immediate top 10 bet every single. I think he has like 8 or 9 top 10s on the season, Ellie. I was looking earlier today. Like this guy's unbelievable right now. Another one here at Watkins Glen in like not the best equipment in the world. Can we say that?
Yeah, it's definitely not the best. I would love to see what this kid could do if he could get in a really good car. I mean, there may be a guy at RCR that might move up to the Cup Series, whether it's with RCR
Put him
or
in.
Not. Open up a ride. If you can get this kid in really good equipment, I think he's a Cup level talent. It's just a matter of only having those 36 open seats. And we already can't get Corey Hyman one. So no disrespect to Heim versus Retzlaff, but either way, building up that Viking program, he and Alfredo have had some really good runs this year. And he's one of those guys where it feels like it'd be more surprising if he missed the chase now than him even making it.
I think he's like eighth in points, ninth in points, somewhere right along that cut line. So I mean, this guy's been wheeling and dealing out there. We're not betting Harrison Burton anymore. We're not betting. I mean, Daniel Dyson the Sears. He was another guy I would like to take some wagers on. But like he's become a guy that like I've already been searching the O'Reilly Series odds this week. All the top 10s are pretty juiced right now. You can't really bet them at Kalshi, but he's someone who's going to be like a week in, week out consideration for that for me. And wouldn't him and like Austin Hill be the funniest like teammates? Like it would just be like Slim Jim and like Big Country. You know what I mean? I like it.
That would be if IBT ever gets in the t-shirt business and they end up becoming teammates. We got Slim Jim and Big Country.
Jim and Big Country. Let's go.
That'd be a fun one. All right. As much as we'd love to bullshit about silly season for the rest of the show, we do have a fun weekend of racing coming up that we're going to begin to break down in the Horizon Forecast. So this weekend's entries and schedule, they are points races, like I said, for the two lower series. The Cup Series just has the 36 chartered entries. O'Reilly, 39 entries over there. The only notable one in terms of betting is Chastain will be in the JRM number 9. Truck Series, you got 36 guys and girls racing over there. Brandon Jones will be in the 1 truck for Tricon. William Sawalich back in the 5. Kyle Busch, another run in the 7. Clint Boyer is the free agent driver for Ram. That'll be fun to watch old Clint rip around Dover. He raced at Kansas a couple of years ago in a Spire truck. Didn't go too well. Don't think I'm going to bet on him, but always fun to watch old Boyer get back out there. Chastain triple duty again this weekend in the 45 truck. Christopher Bell is running the 62 for Friesen. Won his last time out, I believe, was at Bristol. And then Hocevar in the 77. We were talking about earlier in the year of we don't know what the new limits are for the Cup guys in the lower series. Hocevar is a guy, and I'd forgotten about this, who because he's not in his 4th full-time year in Cup, if he wanted to run every truck race up until the chase starts, he'd be welcome to. So Hocevar, because he's still young enough, we could see him a lot more often in the trucks. I mean, we've already seen him win races, run 2/3, if not 3/4 of the truck schedule, but Hocevar, a guy week in, week out, who you very well could see as a potential betting favorite there now that he's won a race and we've seen Spire kind of do pretty well. All right, so Friday, truck practice and qualifying at 12:30. Cup practice is on FS2 at 3 o'clock. Truck race, 5 o'clock, the EcoSave 200. Stage lengths for both truck and O'Reilly are 45, 45, and 110. Things get started early Saturday, 9:30 a.m. The O'Reilly practice and qualifying because we need to make time at noon for Cup qualifying and the Pit Crew Challenge, which I'll tell you about how that works in a minute. That'll be on FS1. The O'Reilly race, the BetRivers 200 at 4 o'clock. Again, stage lengths 45, 45, 110. All-Star race during the day. That'll be kind of weird for sure, but Sunday, 1 p.m. on FS1. 75, 75, and 200. So how this all-star race is going to work, and you feel free to stop me at any time if you have any questions or if you want to do any commentary. We'll start off with how qualifying is going to work. They'll run 1 lap at speed to show if you're a quick car or not. And then the second lap will be where the Pit Crew Challenge takes place. Each crew will perform a 4-tire pit stop, no gas. They'll race back to the line, and qualifying will encompass the total time there between green flag and checkered flag. So that lap and then your Pit Crew Challenge. And then the Pit Crew Challenge, pit crew with the fastest pit stop and no penalties, they win it. And those results will determine the pit selection order for the All-Star race. So qualifying, Pit Crew Challenge, it's not going to be, your qualifying time won't just set your pit stalls. That'll be based on the Pit Crew Challenge. Remember last year's winners, the 71 from Spire, pretty surprising. They are all still on that team, except for their jackman, Dax Hollyfield, who's now on the 48. But 4 out of the 5 guys are still there. I don't know if there's any favorites in the Pit Crew Challenge, but either way, exciting to know that, all these guys can really get up for the occasion. I don't think anybody would have had the 71 last year winning this.
No, it's a great thing. And it's gimmicky, right? Like it is a little gimmicky. And like, sometimes like, okay, can we just like set the field by speed like we should be? But at the same time, I think having the pit crew encompass like they do with the 1 lap at speed and then coming down to get some fresh Goodyears in that second lap. It's pretty cool. Like I think it does add a little bit of something, but I definitely would not put my money on the 71 going back to back to pull this thing. But Chris, you gotta, Chris also, we don't release it to the public, but Chris also, I think, does a poll betting model specifically. I wonder if Chris can handicap this one for us. Would love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, some of the faster pit crews, we've seen the Hendrick guys be quick. The one guy I would say, let's probably not bet on Ryan Blaney's pit crew to win the pit crew challenge. All right, so normally with the All-Star race, there's an All-Star Open that represents the drivers who are going to also lock into the main event. This year, that's not the case. They're going to start the race, and your Open is going to be 2 75-lap segments. So it's almost like you're running stage 1 and stage 2.
Okay.
First segment, of course, is based on that qualifying. You run that out. And then after that first 75 laps, the top 26 positions are inverted. They would do this when they would do doubleheader weekends at the cup level around the pandemic. Of course, your favorite short tracks may do this at times. So 26 would be first would be 26th, and that would be inverted. And the 200-lap final segment is your All-Star race. There will be 26 total spots available in the field for that. So winners from 2025 are locked in. Winners from 2026 lock in, and full-time past champions lock in. So the drivers that are locked in, we have 19 of those 26 who are already locked in. Chastain, Cindric, Austin Dillon, Kyle Larson, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, Josh Berry, Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace, William Byron, Tyler Reddick, Ty Gibbs, Carson Hocevar, Shane Van Gisbergen are all locked in. So that's 19 out of 26. There will be 6 spots available to race in. That will be based on your highest combined finishing positions in those opening 2 segments. So you win it. You know how averages work. Even if you're not a big mathematician, that's how the averages work out. Between the 2 segments, of course, if you run up front the first one, you want to get back up to the front as quickly as you can to get that best average finish. That will lock in 6 other drivers. And then you have the fan vote winner that will be announced, I believe, before they even start racing on Sunday. So the fan vote will know before any of the stages that they're already in. They release an alphabetical top 5 the other day. Alex Bowman, Chris Buescher, Noah Gragson, Ryan Preece, Connor Zilic are your top 5 alphabetically right now. Worth noting, Noah Gragson has won the last 3 fan votes, so probably the most likely to win it again this year and lock himself in that way.
Yeah, I would think that would probably be the case. And I gotta say, I kind of love the inverted field for the second half of this Open. Like, it's gonna make it like pretty much impossible to bet. I don't even think maybe that like I've seen no odds for it. And like the All-Star Open, Ellie, this was usually a 3 or 4 unit gainer for me. So it does ruin that, which is absolutely terrible, because I know one of my biggest paydays ever was, I think I put something like 10 units, ridiculous amount on Ty Gibbs to win it a couple of years ago, and it was like it came to the window, so that was great. So that's weird, but like I've always wanted to see like what would Cody Ware and like Cole Custer do if they got out front sometime. Like, it's probably going to lead to scrap cars and a little bit of mayhem, but it kind of gives you that feeling of like playing a video game and having like, a little bit of flexibility there on who gets to the front of a race. So I'm excited for that nonetheless.
Yeah, and the fact that they'll have everybody out on track too, the guys who are locked in to the big show are going to be out there at the same time. So is it, the old school Talladega races or Daytona races, you would see your pack racing at the front and then a pack way at the back to stay out of trouble. Are we going to see your guys that are locked in run at the back, let everyone else fight it out at the front? Can a guy like Ware or Custer get into 25th and start on the front row and maybe have a decent average finish there? That'll be at least exciting to watch, at least in the fact that it's a little different than
you
normal.
Can game it. Yeah, you can be a gamer a little bit about it. So yeah, probably better if we are not allowed to bet this, honestly. So it does ruin one more bettable race of the season, which you hate to have. So it's for 1 year, I'm for it, and then let's go back after this. But for 1 year, I can get down. I don't need to lose any more money this weekend, hopefully.
Yeah, man, fair enough. And for a guy like Gregson too, I mean, it's hard to pass enough. He may enjoy the fact that he probably is going to win the fan vote. I don't know if front row can have a really good average finish compared to some of those other guys who are not locked in.
Yeah, Hunter thinks he's win the fan vote for sure. And then Chris saying the pool model overheated hearing this format. Totally understand that. Maybe the comment of the year too, here from Chris earlier today. A shout to Marcus saying Marcus is a loyal man. It has been a rough year for Bell fans. I'm going to talk about Chris Bell a little bit later, Elliot, but definitely not the year I think many were expecting.
Yeah, sometimes guys have rough years. Sometimes guys even miss races in their rough years. And, your fans just got to stick by him. So shout out to Marcus and Chris Bell. Hopefully it goes better for him than it did last year at Dover, as we'll talk about in a minute. Yeah. Looking at some trends in the track breakdown, obviously 1 mile concrete oval, the good old monster will get out and get you if you're not careful. It is one of the more unique tracks on the circuit as a result. but some secondary comps you can look at. Nashville is kind of the closest comp. Races a little more like a mile and a half than it does a shorter track, probably because it's a little longer than Dover. Darlington and Bristol, some other possible secondary comps. Bristol being made of concrete as well. And Darlington, good old lady in black will snap you just like the monster will. What do you think about those comps and anywhere else that you're kind of looking at making comps to Dover?
Yeah, Nashville is almost like in a tertiary tier for me. Like you're right. Like when we go to Nashville, I do pull Dover data, but it's one of those weird ones that I don't necessarily pull a lot of Nashville data when we go to Dover. And part of that is also like we have Darlington and Bristol data readily available. And I think that is something we need to lean into almost as much as some of the Dover data, right? Like there are those drivers who, I don't know what it is about the Delaware air, but they get up here, man. And, Martin Truex, Ryan Truex, like Denny, like some of these guys just, they get up north here and then they just have it. But definitely those are the two tracks. I'm not looking at Nashville, to be honest with you, but it definitely could be a secondary. And I'm sure we'll get to Nashville in a couple months. Hey, I'm looking at Dover. So call that, being a hypocrite if you would.
Yeah, Nashville's pretty soon. It's 2 weeks away. We got Charlotte next week.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
So before we even get to Pocono, probably would be a little different if we already had been to Nashville this year, like with Darlington and Bristol. But yeah, definitely race is different enough that I understand putting it in a lower tier.
Yeah, I'm at the point right now, Elliot, in my life where wedding is about 3 weeks away. And so like I knew I knew Watkins Glen was last week because everyone's bitching about it up in this area, who goes up to the Glen. And I know when Pocono is because we're going to be there. I'm kind of just all in it for the ride up until then. As far like I woke up on Monday or Tuesday this week. I was like, oh, it's Dover this week. I was like, that's a great, like, I'm excited. And I was like, oh, it's the All-Star Race. And I was like, oh, like, so there's a little bit of 6 to midnight, back to midnight real quick.
Yeah. Well, keep this in mind. What do we got? We got Dover for the All-Star this weekend, Coke 600, Nashville, Michigan the weekend before Pocono, then San Diego.
Pretty good.
Sonoma back-to-back. So exciting couple of weeks to come. But in terms of Dover, taking a look at trends, they've run 4 next-gen points races here. Like I said, this is the first time in its history that they do not have a points race there this season, a track that up until I think even the late 2010s would run 2 races a year, if not even later than that. Next-gen winners, Denny Hamlin has won 2 in a row. Martin Truex is not active. I don't know why I put him in there, but he, like you said, is really good at Dover back in his day. Shane Ryan is not in an O'Reilly car because probably would bet him on an outright or a top 5. Chase Elliott won this race in 2022. Their average starting position is 10th. So one of those places starting up front, going to be a good thing. Not anything too quirky there in the next gen. Next gen pole winners, we've only actually had time trials 2 of the 4 years here. Chris Buescher and Kyle Busch have the poles when they actually ran qualifying. You have Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott starting up front when we had to set the lineup by the metric. Their average finish right around 10th as well, 9.75, but 3 of the 4 have been top 8. So again, harder to pass. Starting up front, very important. You don't want that monster to grab you back in the mid-pack whatsoever. I mean, we got more trends coming from the next-gen era and from the past. How much are you looking at these trends compared to a normal week, given that it is a non-points event?
Yeah, like I said, like I'm actually like this is probably one of the heavier, despite the comps not being perfect. I'm looking at those comps a little more than I am Dover. Just like how is someone running here? Because like there's someone like Kyle Larson, he comes into this race like he's awesome at Dover every single time, but like he's running like crap. But then you have these guys who have kind of ran like crap for most of the season, and now they're kind of buzzing all of a sudden. The Kyle Busches of the world, the Alex Bowmans of the world, and like they're also really good at Dover, right? So it's like it's kind of factoring that all in. But again, me, I'm kind of a person. I'm going to look at next gen data. I'm still going to consider that, but I'm definitely looking at recent form. And honestly, sometimes you just got to throw, shit at the wall a little bit here for an all-star race and see what sticks, specifically with a little bit of weirder format. We're not going to know who's the fastest driver. You're not going to be able to take away a ton from Saturday, as you usually are with qualifying. So that's kind of a bummer. But we will get to see at least them out on the track, and that entire open, I think, will give us a lot more clarity going into the main feature.
A really important comment here from Hunter that I'm trying to bring up. Here we go. My mouse was not working for a minute. Mentioning putting something on the concrete pavement. They are going to put some PJ1/resin compound down to try to expand the racing groups a little earlier. Dover, one of those tracks that you kind of do get a multi-groove racing there But I mean, we saw this in 2020 at Bristol. Shorter race. It's going to take some time to work in those other grooves. So putting the traction compound down, whether it's helpful or not is a different story, but at least that seems like their goal here. Multi-groove racing quicker at this place.
Yeah, I think anytime you slap a little PJ on and make the racing better, quicker, like usually by the time we get to, at least like a quarter of the way through a cup race here at Dover, especially if there's been O'Reilly Series run and ARCA, that's definitely going to help things. Now we add a truck race on top of that too. Like I think we're in for some good racing, and like that's the one thing I hope like Dover's got to show up, man. Like I heard Hunter or someone in the chat earlier saying like we need the fans to show up, we need the track to show up too, right? Like this is a great racing out there, so hopefully we can see that earlier on. So I definitely respect the move of, hey, like let's preserve this service because it is one of the more unique concrete services in the circuit, but at the same time let's try to make it more raceable earlier on.
Couple more Dover trends before we get to some all-star trends. Last 3 years, your active driver average finish, Denny Hamlin 2.3, one of the better ones that you'll see.
Wow.
Alex Bowman 5.5, Ryan Blaney 6th, Chase Elliott 7.3, Ty Gibbs 9.3, your top 5. Career total average finish, Kyle Larson 7.9, Chase Elliott 9.3, Ty Gibbs also 9.3, Brad Keselowski 13.4, Kyle Busch 13.9. One of those where, your Keselowskis and Bushes are going to show up a lot of the times because they used to be really good every week, and now it's not so much that case. And a quirky thing at Dover, too, nobody has won from the pole at Dover since the fall 2010 race, Jimmy Johnson, who won a million times at Dover.
Wow.
But the driver starting second has 7 wins in that time span, so maybe better to bet on the guy outside front row than the pole winner.
Hey, that might be the case, man. I appreciate Dover and Miles the Monster keeping us on our toes like that.
All right, so when you look at all-star races, of course, it was in Charlotte forever. Since moving from there after 2019, we've seen all-star races at Bristol, Texas, and North Wilkesboro the last couple of years. In the next gen, we saw Ryan Blaney win at Texas in 2022, the only next-gen all-star race to go to overtime, which under the points racing rules would not have gone to overtime. Blaney was about to take the checkered flag through the yellow. Thankfully, held up his window net long enough to win that one. North Wilkesboro, Kyle Larson won in 23, Joey Logano in 24, and Christopher Bell in 25. Your other active all-star race winners, Denny Hamlin took it home in 15, Logano in 16, Kyle Busch in 17, Kyle Larson also won in 19 and in 21. Chase Elliott won that Bristol All-Star race in 2020. When you look at some of the guys transferring in from the Open, that it'll be the same race. But in terms of how you think those guys might be able to do, we have had 2 drivers win the Open and win the All-Star race in the same year. Kyle Larson in 2019. Ryan Newman did it in 2002. When you look at back in the days when they would transfer a bunch of cars from the Open, Michael Waltrip in 1996 was able to get his first NASCAR Cup win before his first point win, winning the All-Star race in 1996. And the only guy to ever win the fan vote and the All-Star race in the same year, Casey Kane in 2008. When you look at here's your trivia question for the night. When you look at the entirety of all of these things, only one driver has ever won the Open, won the fan vote, and won the All-Star race at some point in their careers. Any guesses, Seth?
Bill Elliott.
Not bad. He was the most popular driver for a long time, but the guy who succeeded him forever, Dale Earnhardt Jr., was able to pull it off.
Okay. I knew it was one of those two you had to take the shot at, right? With all the years they've won it.
Yeah, for sure. Won the Open 2012, the fan vote, I believe, in 2011, and then the All-Star race back in 2000. So All-Star race can see some quirky things. We'll see how everything goes at Dover. We do still have an iFantasyRace.com asterisk mark driver of the week to look back on from last summer's race, Seth.
Yeah, it's a guy who's not running the hottest right now. We already talked about him, Christopher Bell. He was a contender, though, last year at Dover. Keep that in mind, folks. And might have been the best in the field, but he did finish with an asterisk mark 18th in that race. Bell's race was anything but incident-free. Twice he was spinning in that race while running in the top 2, so that was a bummer. In that race, we did see Bell start third, finish second in stage 1, won stage 2, led 67 laps, and then during the restart for that final stage while battling for the lead, he spun again, which dropped him back into 22nd, battled back, ran long during the green flag pit cycle as well, caught a lucky caution break, and then when it was all said and done there on lap 337, he was not able to get back up to the lead, but he got back up to second. So this is a guy who was yo-yoing all night, Elliot. with Christopher Bell here. And then late in that race, lap 392, battling for second again, spun, crashed. So Christopher Bell, he's the guy I'm fading this week, but it's not because of basically his Dover performance, Elliot. It's more his performances at the comps and just recent form in general. So Christopher Bell, a guy we should maybe have a little more respect on at Dover in particular, but I don't really want to bet on him just because of how he's running as of late.
I agree, man. We are rapidly approaching Christopher Bell having to mark the 2026 season as the asterisk marked season of the year.
Yeah.
He's just had so much bad luck. He'll hope that the $1 million and the All-Star race can turn things around, but we'll have to see. We'll talk about him more in the bets. Before we get there, man, let's remind everybody about the wild and wonderful place called the IBT Racing family.
Yeah, in-betweenmedia.com/chat. Link is in the episode description as well. Free to join and gain access to the chat. We're always talking about our bets going in the week. We have our full betting cards there that you can upgrade for $3.99 per month or $36 for the year. That's going to get you our matchups contest and our betting model access as well, which Chris does a great job every single week putting that together. Even the All-Star race, we gave you a little bonus one this week. So you got 39 races, $36 for the year. Pretty good deal over there. And then, but just join for free too. You can chat with everyone, whether it's myself, Elliot, Chris. We're always hopping in there. Memorabilia giveaways over there as well. So lots of fun stuff happening right there in -betweenmedia.com/chat. It also gives you access to the IBT football family, the IBT entertainment family, and the IBT golf family, which PGA championship tonight, Elliot. We're going to do a little fancy spin to talk about that later. But Jake and the boys over there at the 19th hole doing a great job, and great job with that betting model. And the one and done contest, our editor in chief, Ariel, leading that. So good stuff happening over there. Survivor 50 League also in the entertainment family. Your boys in second right now. So swinging a hot bat in the Survivor world, at least.
Yeah, man. Glad you're doing better there than you are in the matchups contest. Getting a couple behind, but aren't we all with how good Chris is doing? Before we get to that and all the fun at the end of the show, time to let you know where we have laid our coin. Parking garage props up next. With how the books are rocking and rolling, of course, they're going to have less up on Wednesday than they do on a Thursday. So I'm excited to see what they'll have going on the rest of the week. Maybe some new markets, getting those call sheet top 10s for the lower series sorted out. Definitely will be more to add to the betting card, which you can see, of course, in the IBT Racing family. For now, though, pretty low unit share in general and mainly just focused on a couple of drivers that I'll tell you about as the evening goes on. Partly because I don't really know how the format's going to affect the race. Nobody does. And who knows who's going to bring their best piece or not. That could definitely affect things as well.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is this week, right? Like, you don't have the Open, which you know me, like I would usually have more on the Open than I would the race itself, specifically when a couple of years ago we had some books open up some top 3 and some top 2 odds for those. That was really, really fun, right? So maybe we'll see something later. Again, we'll talk about in the IBT Racing family. If anyone sees that, let us know. Drop us a link and we'll go check those out, but nothing there right now. And so I just have a couple bets that I really like them. I think there's some value out there on the board, but it was about getting creative because I think maybe Elliot, there was Kalshi, you couldn't really bet any of their lower series. And then also for the most part in placement props, like their top 5 and top 10s there, but really the score was doing kind of the heavy lifting this week. Most places, like, they gave us head-to-head matchups, which are nice because even a couple years ago, it was hard to find All-Star Race head-to-head matchups. So I'll even take some head-to-head matchups over some placement props in this particular format. So there's some out there, but it's just, bobbing and weaving to get into it.
Yeah, and again, as the week goes on, I'm sure they'll put up more. Mm-hmm. If not, we make do with what we can here. And we still have plenty of bets on the card tonight. Got to start with a couple of outrights. And the place to start at Dover is the man who has been the best there is, plain and simple, Denny Hamlin, plus 450 on BetMGM. He has won the last 2 years there, including when we were there in 2024, 5th the year before that in 23. So very, very good here. He's led in all 4 of the next-gen races, 274 laps total. He's the top of the model. He's the top of iFantasy Race's next-gen total speed rankings. And like I said, just the top there is at Dover. Denny Hamlin going out, getting himself $1 million, the most likely outcome. And the books have shown that you're betting him at favorite numbers, seeing him at 4-1, maybe even like a plus 390 at places. I'm okay with a 4.5.
Yeah, I danced around the 4.5 quite a bit, Elliot, to be honest with you, and ended up not being able to get invested there. But I do have a Denny Hamlin top five minus 150 at the score bet right now. I'm down 2 units on that currently, and like I think for me, like I trust Denny at Dover, right? Like that is the thing. A plus grade at 95% in the model, number one in loop data score in the next gen era. In that same span, number one in Dover driver rating. These advancing like super high, number two in driver Dover average running position as well. Third in Dover average finish, 7.0 back-to-back wins, as you mentioned. So like you like that. You like the momentum he has coming in. Momentum driver rating number one, last 6 races, number 2 in momentum average finish. So he's been running a hot car, even at Watkins Glen, like top 15 finish. That's kind of what you want at Denny Hamlin at a road course, right? So you really like it, especially because on the last 6 traditional ovals, he has 4 top fives, including 2 runners up and a win. So he's been right there. The only thing, Ellie, like the only thing that I'm just like, hey, I'm just going to wait till Sunday. Maybe BetRivers throws me out a little 10% boost and I get invested then in the outright, because the only thing, his comp finishes, he was kind of out to lunch at Darlington earlier this season. 11th, really never in it the whole day. I was on him pretty heavy, I think, for a top 5 that day, and it didn't come to fruition. And then 9th at Bristol as well, but did finish P6 in stage 1 and P3 in stage 2. So had some speed, just kind of got the strategy wrong. Didn't end up in the right place. So like I was leaning towards that outright all day, but I found a better value in the outrights to go with. And I was just like, hey, minus 150, top 5. I think that's the play I prefer, but there's a great chance Denny Hamlin is the winner. I think if the other driver I'm going to shout out doesn't win, I think it is Denny Hamlin this weekend.
Yeah, and that's an important point too. Denny's normally good at a lot of those tracks you mentioned. We know that Toyota, they're the best this year. They didn't make major body changes, but maybe Denny is, not that he's lost his touch. Maybe the way the Toyotas are set up better for those 1.5 miles that we've seen him run so well on. Should have won Kansas, won Vegas, ran well at Texas, if I recall correctly. But I still kind of like the outright. A minus 150 for a top 5 is a good bet, and maybe one that I'll end up adding to the card as I add throughout the weekend. But I'm okay going with the outright. And the guy you were talking about too, you've got an outright and a matchup on Ryan Blaney, a guy who I've kind of overlooked, and I'm excited to hear the case on Blaney taking home another All-Star race.
Yeah, when I was thinking about like, hey, how do I go with the outright market this week? And again, I want to slow play that Hamlin number because I'm probably going to be squad riding with you there. And then all of a sudden, my boy Chris drops in his early clicks for the week, and he's going with a Ryan Blaney outright 9-1 at FanDuel. So I was like, that's exactly where I want to go to. 0.8 of unit here. So squad ride with my boy out there. And I just think he's the best value on the board because like you look, he's second in our projections, Elliot. So to get him all the way out at 9-1 when you're seeing a lot of drivers 6.5, 7-1, 8-1, like 9.5 feels like a really good number. Number 6 in loop data score, average running position, and driver rating at Dover in particularly at the next or in the next gen era there. And then like what I want to focus on though is like what he has done as opposed to Denny Hamlin, who he's kind of been out to lunch at the comps this season, hasn't raced the best. Blaney's been lights out, number 1 in next gen total speed rankings at the comp, so the last couple of seasons, and then number 1 in average starting position at Bristol and Darlington the last 2 years, number 2 in average finish at them this year. You think that about that Darlington race? Started P7, finished stage 1 in 3rd, finished overall the race in 3rd as well, so had a really strong car all day. Didn't work out in the pits, as we know, or he maybe could have taken that race. And then Bristol started on the point. Top 3 in both stages, led 190 laps, finished P2. He was coming there for Ty Gibbs at the end. Maybe a little bit more time he gets there. So I think you look at the Darlington, the Bristol resume from this season, and then you look at the Dover body of work for Ryan Blaney in the next gen era. 9-1 feels like a really, really good number.
Yeah, like I said, Blaney and Penske as a whole here, kind of somebody that I've overlooked, but these are pretty good numbers. An outright might be a bridge too far for me. Maybe the matchup bet that you'll talk about here in just a minute could be a better value. Maybe I'll look into a placement prop as well. Outright's a little bit of a stretch. So kind of the inverse opinion here.
Yeah.
Where you're safer on the placement prop with Denny. I feel safer with it with Blaney. So they're among the favorites. And when you come to Dover, you mentioned his name earlier. There's a certain Hendrick Motorsports driver. He's maybe only got a couple of tracks every year where he can go out there and be the best and dominate. And Dover is one of those places for Alex Bowman, the outright at 20-1 over on BetMGM. We know Dover's his best track, and we know this is a good number for somebody who runs pretty well here. I've seen the outright as low as 10-1. Even I am not interested in a 10-1 on Bowman this week, especially he's not locked into the main event. So some sort of chaos happens and he doesn't even start. He doesn't even make that last 26. That would be an issue. And maybe we would get lucky and these bets we voided, we get our money back. But who knows how the books are going to do that too. This is the first time we've had this happen. So I don't think we're going to have to worry about that, though. It's just going to be getting caught in somebody else's mess if that doesn't happen, because the 48 is top notch here. Top 8 finishes in 7 of the last 8 races here. That 5.3 average finish in the next gen series best over the last couple of years. Has the best driver rating from iFantasy Race and 3rd best in the next gen total speed ranking. And if you talk about who knows how people are going to think about this, maybe some guys won't bring their best piece. Maybe some guys are like, yeah, $1 million is cool, but people may not like Dover as much as the 48. I feel like this is a week where you could see him kind of step up and be that top Hendrick driver when things have been really weird at Hendrick the last couple of weeks. 20-1 on the 48. I really enjoy it. And an alternative reason, I like fast-looking cars, and he's got a fast-looking one this week too that I'll show you here in just a minute.
Yeah, I'll say, Elliot, like, I like the idea of having Alex Bowman on the card this week. Like, trust me, as soon as books open, like, that was where I was going is, hey, how can I get invested with the top 10, maybe a top 5 or a matchup, something like that. Like, I want to have 48 on my card. I just couldn't do it because, like, I didn't think the numbers were fair. I don't think 20-1 for a guy who has been out of the car as long as he has. Like, yeah, he's having good runs here, but, like, do you really see Alex Bowman passing whether it's Ryan Blaney or Denny Hamlin on merit? I think some absolute buffoonery would have to go on for him to win. Like, I think he can be a top 5 car on speed, and like, he's great here. I'm not saying that, but it's hard for me to imagine him having the car, especially with what we've seen out of HMS last couple weeks, to do that. I wanted to go with him for a top 10, but those numbers were kind of absurd too. I think you're drinking a lot of juice that I was seeing out there, so I just couldn't go that way. But I like the idea of Alex Bowman. Also to point out some stuff going on in the chat here. A prediction from Hunter saying Connor will win the fan vote, Elliot. So what's your fan vote prediction? You think it's Scragson again?
I think it's probably Noah, yeah. But Zilich has a good shot.
I think Hocevar, if he didn't win, would have definitely been.
I mean, that was such an obvious pick. I think even Larry McReynolds on his Sirius radio show said, wow, I can't believe Hocevar is not in the top 5, forgetting that his Talladega win locked him in.
Yeah, 100% there. And then also Skull asking, yes, we're definitely taking Bristol into account for sure. That is super heavily weighed this week. Hunter saying he's got Blaney top. Top 4. What do you think of top 4? Do you like that?
I think that's a good way to get invested on Blaney. I don't know what the number is. Let me know what the number is. If
plus money saying so.
I think, yeah. Oh man, I love me some plus money. I
mean, who else? Like, who else do you really expect to go out this week and be ripping it? Like, I like Brad K for maybe like he's 2-1 for a top 10. I don't hate that. The Busher was good here, like maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, but hasn't been as hot. Like,
maybe another guy who's not locked in either.
Yeah, maybe Priest, but another guy who isn't locked in. So, I don't hate that play, Hunter, at all. Plus 110 from Hunter. So, yeah, that's a good call there. So,
might be added to the card.
Yeah, good stuff there. Elliot, what are we at next? Do you want to go to another outright, or should we finish up on Blaney?
Yeah, so I've got a placement prop that I'll throw in before those matchups we were talking about. And I will say, going back to the Bowman, on a points race, this probably needs to be closer to a 25 or a 30-1, if not longer, for me to bet it. Just kind of the all-star, if you want to call it all-star fuckery, if you want to call it overconfidence in a driver that I pay attention to a lot, whatever, I get it. But it's not the last Hendrick bet on my card either. Chase Elliott for a top 3, plus 210 on Bet365. One of those that, I understand maybe this is jumping the gun a bit, maybe a top 5, maybe a top 10 could be better on the 9. Worked out for me a couple weeks ago. So I think that he has shown this year that he can truly compete with the Toyotas to win the championship, win a lot of the races this year. And he's really strong at Dover too. You look back at last year's race, we talked about how great Denny Hamlin was and how great Christopher Bell was and all this stuff. Chase Elliott may well have been the best car. Started out front, led a whole bunch of laps. Pit strategy kind of screwed him over. Probably should have won that race. Next gen total speed rankings, he is second in the series, and he's really good at Dover for his career as well. Had a couple of asterisk mark races, but in all of those that are not, he's been top 12 in all of those. And without those pair of races, I think it was a crash and a blown engine. 4.8 average finish. So a guy who is always near the front here at Dover and ranks third in the model too. I'm sure you mentioned Denny Hamlin is the top of the model this week.
Yep.
We didn't talk about it terribly extensively in the trends and stuff, but Chase Elliott third in the model too, among those guys that are going to be running up front. Again, I understand being iffy on HMS. Dover's one of the places they're good. And so far, the last couple of weeks, it has been the 9 and the 48 doing more for me lately than the 24 and the 5.
Yeah, I do like Chase this week. He's someone like I would love to. Another guy I kind of wanted to get down on. I've seen some like approachable top 10 numbers for him, and maybe that's a way to go. Just someone who's like you look at average running position at Dover in the next gen era, 33. I remember we were there a couple years ago. It was like it was Denny, it was Larson, and then there was a gap, and it was like MTJ, and it was Blaney and Chase Elliott, and then like kind of another little gap, and it was like Kyle Busch and Gragson, and like because Gragson was running somehow good that day, but and that's how I see it. Like I don't see Chase as one of these guys who like I necessarily would go with the outright, but he is good with these gimmicky races. He's shown us he can win all-star races. He's shown us he can win clashes. You know what I mean? So I think from that perspective, like if you're gonna back an HMS guy, he's someone to do it. I've seen him matched up against Larson. I don't really want to fade Larson at Dover because Larson is really lit at Dover for the most part. But like if I remember like every year we'd get like a Chase Elliott over like Joey Logano at Dover here. Like I'd like a bet like that, please. Something like that where I could like fade Chase against someone a little bit lesser, even like a Chris Bell, Chase Elliott. I'd smash Chase Elliott on that. So I would like to get invested with him. Just don't really know how. Top 3, I think it's a fine number, though, that you're getting at 365.
Yeah, hey, you're looking to fade Chris Bell. That's no surprise. Let's finish up on Blaney and move into the matchups.
Yeah, yes. Dude, just like screw Chris Bell, man. Like, this guy's been running like cheeks, man. I'm sorry, Marcus. I know you don't want to hear, buddy, but like I did it a couple years ago where if you remember it, I can't remember if it was the summer of 23 or the summer of 24. It definitely wasn't the summer of 69, Elliot, but I remember just fading Bell into oblivion. And I think like that's kind of where I'm going to go from now on because you look like I tried to go with him on a top 10, just a top 10 last week. Like he started 8th and then just got off strategy, got into trouble. But you look at what he's coming into this week, 11th worst momentum average finish over the last 6 coming in, 9th best driver rating. So he should have better finishes than he's getting, but still not like top 5 speed. We're talking like top 10 speed at best. And like he hasn't been particularly strong at Dover either, right? 9th in next gen average running position, 10th in next gen driver rating, 11th in average finish, 15.5. Like we have Blaney in the projections, 20 IBT grade points above him. He has an A-. We have Bell here with a B-, 7 spots different. Blaney 3-1 against him in the next gen era. That includes 3 straight wins against Bell. So Caesar's offering him here as an underdog. DK actually has this the other way around where Blaney was the favorite. And that's how I think it should be. So I think this is one of the better values on the board across all series. Ryan Blaney over Christopher Bell. This is my favorite bet this week. And Elliot, I am down 3 units. Let's go, Ryan Blaney. We need the stash, baby. We need you.
Yeah, man, the power of the stash, give him that extra speed. Very okay fading Bell. It's worth noting that some of the things that have happened to him have not been his fault, like tough luck getting your right side destroyed at Texas when Todd Gilliland spins out and crashes.
Sure. Yeah, you're right.
But there has been enough of him not running well that I think this is a really good way for me to potentially get invested on Blaney too. I think an outright's a bridge too far. I think a placement prop or a matchup, I feel like I got to add some Blaney to the card as the weekend rolls on.
Absolutely.
All right, couple more matchups here. Going to go back to the Hendrick well, back to the Bowman well, and take him over Tyler Reddick, -5 over at Caesars. You'll talk about Reddick more in a minute. And I know my main lean here, of course, Alex is good at Dover. And Dover's not traditionally a short track, but it's close enough that I'm just not sure on the 45, and I'm more sure on the 48. And like I said, you got a car, Flaming Dragons on the side of it. I'll explain this quickly to people who are like, why the hell are there dragons and flames on the 48 car? When they unveiled the paint scheme for 2026 in the offseason, you can go back and find it on the Ally Racing or the Hendrick socials. The bit was that, hey, Alex, we're having a new paint scheme this year. They had him make joke designs of it or whatever. Whether he made them or not, I don't know. But one of the jokes was, okay, we're just going to slap a bunch of dragons on the 48 car. So for the All-Star race, having a little fun running the dragons car, and hopefully that flame makes it a little faster to go out there and beat the guy who's been the best all year, but on concrete, not so great. At short tracks, not so great. Close to even money. Give me the 48.
Yeah, that is fair. I understand why you're doing that. I think you're on a little helium on the full 48 because like look, I am all for getting invested with. I was about to say, do you still have those or are those lost in the move?
No, I just found them. So that's the other thing that for those who are new here, you have to understand that when I bet Bowman, part of it is you have not the rose tinted glasses, but the Ally purple tinted glasses. But the way that I balance off of that, I'm paying more attention to the 48 than I am most of the average cars on the track. So when the 48 is on, I generally know it better than just watching the Fox broadcasts. And when he's not on, I'm going to fade him because I'm watching it there. They don't have me at gunpoint. I would love to be getting money from a bank. I mean, a bank sponsor on this show would just be absolutely wonderful.
All right, let's go, baby.
You're more than welcome to do so, Ally.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. My thing here is like, I cannot fade Tyler Reddick, and I know he like the thing is like, and let's flip over here. Tyler Reddick, I got a minus 135 at DraftKings versus William Byron, down 1.5 units on this. The thing is like Tyler Reddick's been great at the comp tracks, Elliot. You look this season in particularly. He won Darlington, dude. Like we know he's good at Darlington though. So it's like, oh, it's not a surprise. How about top 4 at Bristol, a place he's normally not awesome at, right? So like, I think there's a lot to like about Tyler Reddick coming in this week. The better play I like here though is like, hey, let's just fade William Byron, right? Like he's another guy. I just don't trust William Byron like crap right now coming in 20th in driver momentum average finish. Heading into Dover here, Reddick 7th in that span, Byron 11th in driver rating. So kind of in that same Christopher Bell realm where even though he's had bad luck of stuff happening to him, he's also like a top 10 car at best, right? Tyler Reddick 2nd in that span. So you got a guy, Elliot, who's ran good at the comps. He's also coming in here running absolutely hot right now. Willie B has better average advanced stats here, average running position, driver rating. So that's like the one thing that I didn't go like multi-units more than 1.5 units here because like that is the thing. William Byron is better average running position. He is better, driver rating here. But for me, like Reddick is just such a different driver and such a different car this year that like Reddick even has the better average finish here in the next gen era. 15.0, Willie B 22.5. So like for me, I'm just going to fade the drivers who aren't running hot. I don't think like an all-star race is maybe the place to get them going. But I mean, we've seen it at different points, though, where like Joey Logano comes out of nowhere and wins an all-star race. You know what I mean? So maybe it can happen, but I just don't feel good about William Byron. I don't feel good about Bell. And you're letting me fade them against 2 of the hottest drivers right now, 2 of the drivers that we have vastly different in our projections, right? Byron 12th, Reddick here 5th. So large gap there. So it's a 1.5 units for me.
Reddick for sure wins the what have you done for me lately. Byron, it has not been good. You want to throw another hot take out there. Neither Larson nor Byron will have won by the time we get to Pocono. I know that's only a month away, 3 more races in the points, but it just doesn't look likely. And with Reddick, if I'm going to throw extra points on for the Dragons on the car or when the Lucky Dogs in the car, whatever dumb shit that I like to point out, Country Music Awards being on the 45 has got to be a big plus for you.
Hey, I hope giddy up, man. I'm about it. A little CMA action there. Chris wants to know, will you go Bowman over Reddick in the head-to-head contest? If so, let's have some fun. He'll take Reddick. How do you feel about that? Ellie, have you picked your head-to-head contest wager? Is it this one?
Yeah, I'll use a quote from the great Walter White from Breaking Bad. Chris, you're goddamn right.
Let's go. Let's go.
We got one, and I'm probably a very good chance I end up another point back on Chris in the mashups, but sometimes you got to go with your gut, go with your guy. The way I'm looking in the All-Star race.
Well done, my friends. We got. I gotta get a fight one or like a battle sound. I need to get my board. I
already got the boxing gloves here on the graphics, so catch up. Give me at least some Mike Tyson quotes or something.
There you go. And
we'll have to look through. I don't know if you've ever seen the old animated show Mike Tyson Mysteries.
No. No.
They have Mike Tyson. They have they have some other girl in there. I forget canonically if it's like his daughter or something. They have the ghost of the Marquis of Queensberry, who invented the sport of boxing. And they have the late great Norm Macdonald voice, a human that was turned into a pigeon. And they go on and solve mysteries. They're little 12-minute episodes. They did a couple seasons. It's really good. We'll have to dig through and get some Mike Tyson mysteries quotes for the fights.
What TV channel is this on?
It ran on Adult Swim, and to be honest with you, I don't know that you can legally stream it right now in the United States. But there are ways around that. Even if you just buy an episode on Amazon or look up YouTube clips or something.
No doubt. What did you call it? The Legend of Mike Tyson?
Mike Tyson Mysteries is the show, yeah.
Mike Tyson Mysteries. Wow. Yeah, I know Adult Swim had some stuff my parents wouldn't let me watch, but maybe they would have let me, take a dabble here, a little mystery gang Mike Tyson action. I like that.
Yeah, and you wouldn't think that Mike Tyson would be as funny as he is, but it is really entertaining for sure. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We've got one more Cup Series bet, and believe it or not, this is a guy who a lot of times we're not betting on the show, actively fading this guy.
Yep.
I'm going with a little Kyle Busch this week to win Group C over on Caesars. This is a plus 275 bet against Carson Hocevar, Ross Chastain, and Brad Keselowski in the group. And Dover, man, even in the dark ages of RCR, Dover's been pretty good to him. We saw in 2024, won the pole, had a really good finish here. Won the pole in 2023 by the metric as well. 3 out of the 4 next-gen races finishes a P7, P4, and P11. Kyle Busch, we've seen the last couple of weeks, it's been better for him. Top 10, could have been a top 5 at the Glen. Should have been a top, 10 to 15 at Texas before his head blew off. In a place that was good to him when he wasn't so good, Kyle Busch, dare I say, is on a little bit of a hot streak. He's got that factor.
One top 10. Yeah, you're right. It is a hot
streak.
Him.
I mean, we have to look at Kyle Busch and RCR through the lens of a mid-pack team, and maybe even generously saying a mid-pack team. But for him, it's a hot streak. Dover's a place he likes. He wants to go out there, win $1 million, throw some more money at Brexton's racing career, or throw some more money to buy out his RCR contract early if he has to. But
his wife might need a little money, you know what I mean? I don't know how the book's going, but
weren't they just in the news a couple months ago? Like Pacific Life Insurance scammed them or something. So
for real? No,
you can go look that up. I have no idea. I don't know enough about it to talk about it here. But either way, $1 million and some good mojo with a good finish to at least beat. Again, this is against Hocevar, Chastain, Keselowski. All guys I think you can easily beat here. None of them was super great Dover stats, at least compared to Kyle Busch. So I'm going with a little Rowdy here. Doesn't have to win it, but get some good momentum back on your side, heading back points racing at the Coke 600.
Yeah, 2 things on this. First, I do love Samantha Busch and Kyle Busch. I love the videos they do. It's pretty funny to see a different side of this guy who's just an absolute asshole on the racetrack for the better part of over 2 decades now, right? So, and then I do like him this week too. Actually, Ellie, he's another guy like Alex Bowman. We come to Dover specifically when you're on a hot streak, which again he's on a hot streak for him. I'm looking at ways to get invested. Just for me, I couldn't get there. While he does have the advantage of being a former champion, right? At the same time, I need to find him for a good odds top 10, and I just haven't found that yet. I think I would need maybe a 3-1 top 10 is maybe where I would need to go, or a matchup against someone good too. Because I would take him against Chastain, absolutely. I wouldn't go as far as Brad. I'm a little higher on Brad this week, or Hocevar with how they're running, but I would. What would you bet him? What would you need to bet him against Chastain head to head? I'd probably minus 130. I think I'd probably go minus 125. I feel good about Kyle Busch compared to Ross right now.
I would be a-okay with that for sure. And Ross, a guy at the Glen, won a stage, was running pretty well, ends up finishing back in the 20s. I think didn't work out well for him at all.
Sacrificed him. That was the sacrifice. You know what I mean? Like when you're sacrificing your home meal, Smash Bros or something, and just taking an L. Yeah.
The only sacrifice that should be had with a Busch Light apple is when you finish it, you sacrifice it to the recycling bin.
There you go.
As far as sacrificing for a stage winning from round 20th.
Blaze Wolf, first comment from Blaze Wolf for the night saying it was a life insurance scam. So that sucks. That sucks, man.
Million bucks will go a long way toward helping that out, huh?
Yeah. Gotta keep your head on a swivel out here, folks. People are trying to take your money, even if you're Rowdy Busch, Yeah.
Hey, sometimes not all our bets hit. Don't sue us. We're not trying to scam you. We're just trying to have a good time. That's it on the cut bets so far. For anything else that we may add to our card throughout the weekend, we will publish our full cards before race time in the IBT Racing family.
Of course.
free to join to chat with us, $3.99 a month or $36 for the year to get that full access to the betting cards. I will certainly add more to my card, especially as the lower series markets really start to come together. I know you have some leans that will throw back and forth a little bit, but I'll go with the one that I have on the board so far, and it's a Carson Kvapil outright at plus 950 through Caesars. You look at Kvapil at Dover, 2024, really, really good. 2025, really, really bad. I know that race last year, rain shortened, things were a little different. I really thought it would go better for him. Ran 15th, was never really toward the front from my understanding. But he's got the ability to be strong here. He's been firing on all cylinders, having to deal with a lot of challenges this year. He's in the one car this week, which is really, really good because that's where he's run the best. That's where Rodney Childers is. That's the A-team car compared to, the 9 and especially the 91 there. The proof of concept I have here is that run that we saw in person in 2024. It was his second at the time Xfinity Series start. Damn near wins the race up there in that 88 car. Ryan Truex is able to get it done that day. And I think a couple years later, it might be Carson Kvapil's day.
Yeah, I mean, he was 5th earlier this season when we went to Bristol and 5th at Darlington too. So like the comps check out for him. So Carson Kvapil, definitely a guy I'm going to be looking more for a placement. But this wouldn't be a week that would surprise me if we did see someone come out here as a first time winner.
Kvapil's a guy I like, and like you said, you like him for placement props, and you got a couple of leans for bets. Again, nothing laid down on the card in the lower series, but let's chat about some of the guys you're thinking about.
Yeah, just like haven't seen any. Again, we're a day early that we're doing this too, Elliot. So I think that kind of slows us down just a little bit. That not as much to fire down on, but I think there's some really interesting O'Reilly series lean. Like I'm gonna throw out probably a Gator top 5. If I can get anything -140 or under. He's just been stellar at the comp so far this season. He took down Kyle Larson at Darlington earlier this season. You look what he did at Bristol too, top 5. He's been good at Dover in the past. Cruise Missile, top 5. This 19 has always been good here at Dover the last couple of years, whether it's our boy Almirola in it, whether it's Ryan Truex. It's usually had speed here. This is a place that fits Cruise's driving style a little bit. We don't have much data on him because he did sit out a couple of these races earlier this season. But Christopher Bell took that 19 car to 3rd in Darlington, and then same thing. Brent Cruz drove it to 3rd at Bristol. So you like what you've seen from Brent Cruz. The books are a little bit juiced on him, but Cruise Missile, Gator, top 5s, interested in there. Kvapil, you mentioned him. Brandon Jones, actually, he's been top 5 at a couple of these tracks, these comps this season, including 2nd place at Darlington earlier this year. So, and he was good last year here too. So I don't mind Brandon Jones. He's someone interesting. Parker Retzloff, we talked about him top of the show. I think you'd be considering top 10s on him, head-to-heads on him if you get him. And same with Corey Day. Corey Day had some pretty strong. He was 8th at one of our comps in Bristol, and then the other comp, he was also 6th. So if I can get a top 10 on Corey Day, those would be some of the other guys O'Reilly Sears racing it. I'm leaning, again, nothing down on, but I will let you guys know over there in the IBT Racing family this weekend where I go.
Yeah, Gator and Cruz both make sense. I mean, Brent Cruz is already into a chase spot despite missing those 4 races. 19 cars, bad, fast, and Allgaier top 5. I mean, it's got to get to the point where you just bet $1 on the Allgaier top 5 every week, and then you probably can outperform the S&P 500 with just an Allgaier top 5 every week. Kvapil I like. Jones I like too. I looked at him as potentially a top 10 guy once Kalshi gets their shit together and we can get some reasonable top 10 odds. I'm curious about that. Retzloff, I mean, it's still at the point where, I might be looking closer to like a 3-1 to really be confident in a top 10 for him. But I understand if those numbers aren't there because he's hitting it more often than not. Definitely guys I'm going to look at for sure. Corey Day too. Hendrick, bad, fast, good at Dover. Got to translate to the O'Reilly level at some point too.
Do you have any truck leans, Elliot?
Nothing leans wise. And this was one of those races where it almost feels like the weeks when it's Allgaier and there's like no cup guys in the O'Reilly. It's like I'm looking at some of the front runners, like maybe Caden Honeycutt goes back to back. You never know with Bell and Ross and being the cup guys. Hocevar, I still don't know. So I don't have anything down on trucks yet. Honeycutt was my only possible lean. I had a bonus bet on the score that was, I think I caught it like 10 minutes before it expired. I put that on a 5-1 Honeycutt championship ticket just because I feel like at this point, Lane Riggs has not really shown me a great deal, and Honeycutt will be the next guy up. So, I mean, 5-1's better odds than I would have got Corey Heim to win the title there for sure. But yeah, in terms of the race, nothing yet for me.
Yeah, I got a lot of money on Lane Riggs Championship, and it's just not going where I thought it would this season. So
Long way to go. They're in the middle of their summer stretch, so
it's just a lot. Like I thought he'd have a gap by now, and he just doesn't even have he doesn't have the lead. So it's like you just don't feel awesome about that. For me, like looking at that truck race, I agree with you. It's harder to make bets when we have all these cup guys coming down, specifically guys like Hocevar, who's running super hot everywhere he goes, right?
Yep.
My plays, I'm going to be looking at a Ross Chastain top 5, and it's because, like, dude, Ross is running so bad right now in Cup, Elliot, that I think these, like, lower series races almost kind of mean more to him. Like, I hate to say that, but he's, like, competitive in them, right? And you look at the comps this year, even in that Al Nice 45 truck, Darlington finishes P2. We know he's good at Darlington. He's won there before in a truck. And then you also look P4 at Bristol this season. So I'm interested in getting a little Ross Chastain action here this week. He led 35 laps in that Bristol race or that Darlington race. So I'm interested there. And Christopher Bell, you mentioned him earlier in the race too in that Friesen equipment. He's a guy who won last time out in this 62, led 63 laps at our comp track of Bristol. And then you also look what he did at Darlington, not as dominant, but still led 6 laps, finished in 6. So if I can get them in reasonable price matchups, not against each other, or some top 5s, I'd be interested in there. I don't really have an outright lean. Like I would even say, like if you're looking for maybe a long shot, Christian Eckes, this is a guy who's ran good here in the past in various levels. He was a top 10 car in O'Reilly last year. He was also top 5 this season earlier in Bristol, Tennessee too. So just a couple of those drivers that I like.
Yeah, and I don't really have a strong argument against Bell or Ross running toward the front, but just to play devil's advocate, just for the sake of argument, Bell did win that Bristol race, but Corey Heim was the best truck and he got dumped. So that didn't work out too well for him.
Good point.
And Ross, I mean, we've got some stuff in the comments too that Ross, been getting good in trucks with all the races that he's been in. I think you're right in an extent that these O'Reilly and truck races mean a lot to him because he's not performing well at the Cup level. But then you start to see him kind of slip into old Ross because he goes into those races, and I'm sure his mentality is, I should win this race. I'm a Cup guy. I'm better than a lot of these guys, especially when he's in equipment that he thinks is good enough. He's like, I should contend for the win of all these races. You go to Watkins Glen, you get there, you get to the front, you screw up on a restart, get sent to the back, and then coming back through the field, you destroy the truck running for 20th place because you're frustrated. Again, I don't think that's the normal way it's going to go for Ross. Mm-hmm. He's going to run up front way more often than not. Just a little devil's advocate fun to play on those guys.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, so in the head-to-head matchups contest, Chris, man, I mean, I'm going head-to-head with Chris, and it's a bad idea because he still has gone back to a 2-race lead in the matchups contest. Myself and Kyle are not too far behind. Yourself and Blaze Wolf, CJ, and Eric Larson as well with 6. These are the contenders here, and we've mentioned before any newcomers that comes in, we'll find a way to get you some bonus.
W first month doubled.
Yeah, we will double your money, double your picks to get you up here a little quicker because we need some competition. If it can't be me, then at least somebody's got to get up there and catch Chris.
Yeah, and keep in mind, because Chris and Elliot are employees of IBT, they cannot win the giveaway here. They cannot win the plaque or the mystery autograph diecast. So right now, Kyle, buddy, you're sitting in a pretty good spot with Blaze, Wolf, and Lars not bad behind you. So yeah, come on over, come play in the head-to-head contest. It's a good time. in-betweenmedia.com/chat. We have a bunch of premium members who aren't even playing in it. So apparently wasn't that good of an idea. I thought it was going to be a good time. So hopefully get some more people out there. And Elliot, I'll tell you what, I think it will be a good time this week because I'm just going to go right back to the well. I gave out the bet earlier. I'm going to take my my guy Ryan Blaney against C-Bell.
Yeah, and that's a good one to pick. And I'm sticking to my guns with the Bowman over Reddick. Again, that Blaney over Bell. Yep. -110 on Caesars. The Bowman over Reddick. -105 via Caesars as well. And yeah, Chris has really shown up. We are going to have that going against each other. Here's the comment.
I don't like that idea.
Reddick over Bowman for his matchup. Eric Larson chiming in. Going with Bowman versus Reddick for the matchup, even though I'm not a big fan of purple sunglasses. I mean, I'm not wearing these outside of the show. These are cheap $5 Amazon ones for sure. Who doesn't love dragons, though? I completely agree. +105 on Bovada for Bowman. I certainly like that much better. And the fun of it, too, him being a fan of Reddick, me being a fan of Bowman, it's just that much sweeter when it's the guy that you pull for who's able to also make you money. it hasn't worked out super well with you and Chastain this year. Chris, I'm sure, has made a good amount of money on Reddick, and I'm hoping to catch up on the backside with Bowman.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one because Elliot, you either are going to be within one of Chris again, or you're going to be down 3. So he's kind of maybe coming out the better end of this. I would go Reddick, like, just for, but I got my own beat to settle with Christopher Bell this week after screwing me out of top 10. So I'll let you guys settle that beef, and I'll just have a little beef going on there with Ryan Blaney and Christopher Bell.
I don't blame that either. Like I said, maybe a matchup that I go with, but hey, now I'm locked in. Coming for you, Chris. Hopefully not going to be 3 down there. All right, one more thing before we go. We are going to do a little fantasy spin action. No NASCAR contest yet, so we are going to go on the golf side with fantasy spin.
Yeah, man. Fantasy Spin has been a great partner with us so far. We're a day early. Usually they release their contents often late Wednesday night, Thursday mornings as well. So look for that. But if you want a different kind of daily fantasy experience, Fantasy Spin lets you spin your lineup, make your picks, and compete in tournaments based on real player performance. Like a slot machine, though, you can actually hit the jackpot. And you look at these Fantasy Spin leaderboards right now, whether it's on the free side that you and I are playing on because we're in PA, Elliot, or the paid side, IBT crushing it right now. Like Jake, Mike, Keith, and the boys, they took down some big contests last week. I know Tyler hit a big one in the NASCAR realm last week too. So like we've been having gainers. We've been on top of the leaderboard. So we want to have you guys come try to take us down because this is a really unique game that it's going to combine the skill of drafting a DFS lineup with a captivating gamified experience. But you're also going to be able to enter a contest and spin your DFS lineup for a chance to win big this week. So it's always a great time, whether you want to play for free or for cash. Fantasy Spin has you covered. So check them out. The link is in the episode description. Use that promo code IBT NASCAR or IBT Golf for that matter as well. That's IBT NASCAR or promo code IBT Golf. Deposit at least $10 and play at least one tournament. Get a $30 bonus play. Support the program. Check out Fantasy Spin and let's make some noise for the rest of the racing and PGA golf season. And let's fire up a little spin ourselves right here on the program.
Spin, pick, win.
Yeah, I've really had a lot of fun playing the arcade mode too. Spun some extra lineups over the weekend at Watkins Glen. I meant to post them in the Racing Family, totally based on it. But one of the contests for the O'Reilly series, I had the winning entry, apparently, which was pretty cool.
Let's go.
I just pulled it up. Alex LeBay was one of my spins, so getting some back there. But I also had Jesse Love, Carson Kvapil, Brent Cruz, Austin Green, and SVG. So they were the ones that did the heavy lifting, but also shout out to Alex LeBay for being 6th out of 6 on my winning lineup from last week.
I love it. Love to hear it. All right, we got PGA Championship. We got 10 spins in this one here.
Right.
Of course, the way I'm going to be scouting this out, Elliot, because I golf bet regularly, but not enough confidently to give out my plays. It's often I'm tailing Jake and some of the IBT golf family over there. So I have the IBT PGA Tour betting model up in front of me, and we're going to go ahead and give it a ride here, Elliot, with the first spin of the day. Patrick Rogers, Russell Henley, Vegas, JJ Spawn, Shaper, and Denny McCarthy as well. Ooh, that's a rough first spin, my friend. That is a rough first spin. Do you have an initial lean here that you prefer? Spawn is 27th in the projections. I think he's the highest that we have this week.
Yeah, this is definitely the expert versus like the court jester over here. Spawn is a guy who, from what I've seen, he's had his bright moments, but also tough to stay consistent. I mean, it's golf. It's obviously tough to stay consistent. Just asking on the course earlier today. It looks like though Spawn and Henley are the top guys projections-wise, and if Spawn is the highest in our projections, maybe the way to go unless you think one of these other 5 could be sleepers.
Yeah, no, I really don't. Looking at kind of what Russell Henley's. Actually, Russell Henley's 11th. Let's go Henley. Let's go Henley. He's not the most fun to watch, and you can lock in multiple too. But we'll keep. We need some big guns here. We need some of the live guys coming over. This is a bombers course.
That was something that I had forgotten about when I set those extra lineups. Is you can lock in multiple every spin. I think in that winning O'Reilly lineup, I got Green and SVG on the same lineup. I locked them both in, which is probably how I ended up with Alex LeBay, but it worked out.
All right, Elliot. So this is going to be a fun one here. We got Robert McIntyre, of course, the Brit, Sepp Straka, Big Sepp, Fisher, Patrick Cantlay, and then Michael Block, the Blocky. This is the guy who a couple years ago, he's an amateur, or not an amateur. He's like a club pro, right? And he's the guy who had a top 10 finish, was golfing with Rory in the final group a couple of seasons ago. So almost for the meme, I want to take Block, but also like I know we shouldn't be taking Block. And honestly, we got 10 spins left, so I think we're just going to let it fly once more. Let's see what happens here.
That is true. That's nice that you do get some extra spins here. You still lock in the and Scheffler, obviously very good pick here. Seems like that's the way you're going to go. But getting some extra spins certainly will help you get a better lineup.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Let's keep Scheffler there. I know Lucas Glover. I don't know the rest of these bowls, if I'm being honest with you. So we're gonna
I don't know any of the four.
The interesting thing about the PGA Championship is they let like 7 to 8 club pros in it from that championship too. So it's super interesting of how you kind of get the field here. Aaron Ride, Rob McIntyre again. No, we're gonna keep spin. We're gonna bring it down here, Elliot here. Oh,
only got 4 spins left, so we're gonna start locking some more gyms in.
Let's see where we got Ryu Histanine. This is a guy who's kind of been coming up the last couple of years. We've hit some pretty long top 10 bets on him occasionally. So he's someone who kind of 65th now.
I think at this point you got to send it. You got to start locking some guys in. You're going to end up.
We're going to keep spending. We're going to keep. Okay. All right. So we're back to 2 guys we had that on your first couple spins, like JJ Spawn and Sepp Straka didn't feel awesome, but I think we're getting to the point where like Sepp Straka 22nd in our projections, and then JJ Spawn not feeling too bad. I'm at least locking in. I think we're locking in both Spawn and Straka. I don't think we're gonna get. I'm not seeing any of the live guys coming up right now. I don't know if we're gonna get any Brysons coming up. So what do you think, Elliot? Should we lock in both these fine big hoss gentlemen?
Hey, maybe not the worst idea with only 3 left. I don't know if you got Spawn locked in there. There you go.
Yeah. All right. Here we go, baby. Come on. We got to. Oh, Hovland. Ooh, where do we have?
With only 2 spins left, you see a guy who makes you, man, I got this guy. That's probably a good move.
19th in the projections, a guy who's won a PGA champion. Actually, I don't know. Don't quote me. He's won a PGA play. I don't know about a PGA championship. We got no locks. Oh, we got no locks left. Oh,
no locks left. Oh.
But we can unlock one of our previous players too. Oh, baby.
Well, you weren't super confident on Straka and Spawn, so if you want to burn one of those locks and swap out.
Let's go here. Okay.
2 spins, no locks left. All right, let's see what happens.
All right. Throwaway spin. Here we go. We need. I don't really want a Rory. Rory's got like a foot thing going on, Elliot, and I don't know about you, but golfing 18 when I have like a bad toe or something, I don't think that'd be awesome. Let's get a Cam Young here. I want a Cam Young or Ricky Fowler. Ricky Fowler, maybe for he's top 10 in the projections, right? Let's see if we can get Tom Hoagie. All right. Well, there you go, folks. There you go. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see the lineup. Okay. We got Victor Hovland, Russell Henley. Oh no. I don't know. I might have changed someone out there. No. Yeah.
No, I think this is what you spun. So.
Oh, okay. Tom Hoagie, JJ Spawn, Scheffler. All right. Yeah. All right. So. Yeah, all right. Well, we're out here, Elliot. We'll check. I mean, you got Scheffler in it, so you got a chance, right? You got the guy who should win it, and then you got a bunch of guys who are going to probably be like 20 to 25, and then you got a bunch of guys who are going to hope we're going to make the cut. So, yeah, I'm going to have to spin another one to have it better than this one, I think, to be honest with you, folks.
Yeah, the moral of the story here is it's a testament to how good Jake and the crew's content is on the 19th hole when you have us try to do the golf stuff versus them. And granted, I don't know if Jake could host the NASCAR show as well as we do, but that's the beauty of the specialization here. We got the racing crew, the entertainment crew, the golf crew, and then, of course, the football crew.
Yeah, Chris saying that he gave FantasySpin a whirl last week, and it was a blast. It is fun. It's like it's great shitter games, right? Like great shitter game. Like when you're on the shitter, man. Like because nothing. Okay, I'm just gonna say this, like a little PSA to end the show here. If you're in like a Sheetz bathroom or like a public bathroom, don't be ripping TikTok on your phone. I don't need to be hearing, whatever you got going on in your TikTok.
But this is a general problem across society too. I mean, I think this has been a Curb Your Enthusiasm bit. people not wearing headphones, just playing sound out loud. I remember when I worked at Walmart during the pandemic, there was always a guy. The break room at its peak has to have 25, 30 people in it. And all any of us can hear is just this dude's phone blaring whatever dumb shit he was watching. So I completely understand the little PSA Curb Your Enthusiasm Larry David moment here.
That's what I'm saying. So just try out Fantasy Spin the next time you're on the crapper. You got some time to kill. It can take some time. I get it. I understand. You gotta escape the wives. Got to escape the kids. Fire up a little Fantasy Spin again. Go over there, Fantasy Spin. Download the app right now. It's free to play. Or you can deposit, and that would help us out a lot. Again, IBT NASCAR, that's your promo code there. Deposit $10, $30 you can get back. We'd really appreciate that. And we'd also appreciate, as Chris mentions here, 10 people in here and only 4 likes. That's a bummer. But we hope you guys do enjoy. You did enjoy this program, Elliot, and I hope everyone enjoyed Fantasy Spin as well, where you can always win, spin, and get a little bit of cash, baby.
Spin, pick, win.
Shout out to Fantasy Spin. Shout out to all of you for rolling on down the back road with us. Going to be a fun weekend with All-Star Race at Dover. And like we said, too, these are not our full betting cards this week. As more odds come out, more markets come out, more of the weekend develops. The IBT Racing family, the place to go for our full betting cards.
Yep. in-betweenme.com/chat. That's where to find us all weekend long. Going to be a great time out there. Elliot, excited for that. Excited for everything we have. It's definitely up to something season right now. So excited everything we got, cooking here for the fine people of the Backroad and IBT family.
No doubt about it, man. Lots of fun racing action to come the rest of May. We are excited to roll on along with it down the back road. See you next time, everybody.